Welcome to Home Goal Fans Forum, brought to you by the Glen's Vodka SPFL Manager of the Month Award. Once again, we are joined by the sexiest fans in Scotland. Gogsy, get that tap off now. And also the sexiest panel in Scotland. How we doing, boys? Alright?
Good to be here, innit?
Thanks very much.
Kev, shocking again. Last minute call off Dell you've come in from, mate.
I know, fucking heading up the road to see my wee mammy, and then next thing I'm in here. By the way, what's happening with the couches? We've got the Dossers couch. We've got the fucking swanky one. What's happening?
Swanky this?
Why that's swanky compared to this thing?
We always start with the manager of the month. This one is for Tony Dock, manager of the month for
Big round of
March.
applause.
Tony Dock, superb. By the way,
Another very handsome man, I would say.
what a season. What a season.
What a set of blue eyes. Notice that? Tony Dock at his eyes.
No, I've not.
Holy fuck. Gorgeous.
Aye, brilliant. Everything about him.
Never really noticed that.
Sexiest SPFL manager, let's go quickly.
Derek McInnes.
Still McInnes, are we going?
Aye.
Everyone in agreement, McInnes? Who are you saying, Gogsy? Kettlewell?
Gotta be Kets.
No bad.
Kets.
But he only looks so good because Stevie Freel's standing next to him.
I've got a soft spot for Kettlewell, I've got to be honest with
like
you.
Kettlewell?
I do. I just laugh.
Shady's a great kisser.
Aye, I'd win him by the way, every night of the week. No, I just think listen, he's got one of the lowest budgets. You tell me.
He's on a fortune, are you kidding?
Aye.
Lowest budget.
No, they shoot. He's doing everything in there, isn't he?
Wow.
He's not just what you see on the parks, what he does off the park as well.
Brilliant, take it away, Paul. And we've got who?
We've got Ethan Hampton from Dens Park Choir podcast. There's been a lot of stick about your pitch. Are you going to be here to defend it today?
Just quickly show the camera who you've got in the back of your jersey, please, Ethan. What a hero you are, mate.
I can't believe you've turned up with that strap.
Round of applause now.
Nah, that's disgusting.
Top six, that was the last Dundee team, obviously, getting the top six. I played a pivotal part in that, as you know.
Yeah, of course, obviously.
Thanks, mate.
Only one choice.
Right, the picture here, which is
Across
what you
that
said.
fucking park, wouldn't it? You'd need to get across that surface at a minute. It would be a ferry.
It's obviously disappointing to have so many games called off in the season. The thing that kind of drives me a bit mad with it is the claims of negligence and unprofessionalism, because I know folk at the club, they're honest, hard-working people, and it's not from a lack of trying, and I can assure you it's not from a lack of trying that the pitch hasn't been up to standard for the checks. So it is a bit disheartening that kind of gets more of the limelight when you think, as you say, great season, teams in the top six, yet more of the spotlight's going towards the park. But listen, for me, it's just kind of like one of these things that they'll try to address it in the summer, but how much can they really do about it? I don't know.
Yeah,
You need to get a head groundsman in for starters. I don't doubt the guys there are working their backside off. That's a given, I get that. But you need a top groundsman. I think that's what they should look at maybe in the future. You know, just who the groundsmen are they capable? Because listen, you could get guys like me to go in. I could go in and help out and all that. And so, no, as much as you can, you know, you put divots in and do what you can do. But it's the expertise. That's what they did at. I'm pointing there at Motherwell.
But I'll be honest, Ethan, I've been critical with the pitch. I think it's a shambles for the standard of their top division. But what I do think gets lost in it is I think Dundee players, with the style of players they've got, are probably affected more than anyone. So, listen, I don't think it suits the likes of Lyle, Cameron, Boating, Tiffany, these type of players. But 6 postponements in a season is just unacceptable. When you think as well, 2nd of August, Dundee Motherwell first game of the season, there's a pitch inspection. So, like, I get it, you can't control weather. I'm 100% agreeing with you there. But you need to do a sufficient amount at the start of the season to make sure that your pitch is going to be playable. Obviously, the drainage is the big issue at Dundee. That's probably the main focus of where the investment, the pitch or whatever's going to be. But it's funny because I'm also a wee bit on Dundee's side at times as well, because I mean, finding them £250,000, but then they need to go and spend upwards of £500,000 to £1 million on their pitch in the summer's a bit counteractive for me. But then it's the argument, what do you do? How do you find them? I'm no for points deductions. I think that's a lot of nonsense. But what's the punishment? Do you know what I mean?
There was investment in the pitch. I can direct you to a statement the club had back last May where they redone the turf and that as well. So I think they probably will do that again, but it will make very little difference if, as you say, the drainage is the issue, because it'll just, the same problems will eventually just...
It's the same areas, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been up there the last 2-3 years, and it's the exact same areas that are always affected. So they've obviously they've not addressed that, but it's a head groundsman. I think that's what you need. It's like anything. When you get a top player, you know, you get top class performances. If you get a top headsman, what you get is you get a great surface.
There should be a pitch inspection for every game Don Robertson does, though, shouldn't there? Even on
Exactly what I love that.
just to see him dancing about the pitch, man.
It's like, can I just, Div, what was your take on it for a Rangers point that you went up there twice and the game got called off twice?
Well, it's obviously very frustrating, man, and as you have said, the weather's not been great, but when you look at the amount of other games that have been still going on, the fact that there have been 6 postponements, I think that's just, it's written that a wee bit. And it's
You still get a drink on the bus, though, Div?
What's that?
Still get a drink on the way up on the bus?
Aye, obviously.
Wasn't there that?
But no, as you say, it isn't good enough to be the top league, and you're having 6 postponements in a season. You'd be looking to, as Derek was saying, at least get new grounds people in to try and solve the problem. I mean, August pitch inspections, I didn't even know that. That's terrible. I'm surprised you didn't turn up with your goggles today, to be fair, mate.
Goggles in my pocket.
Ethan, can I ask you, we on the podcast, I think McCowan and Cameron get mentioned a lot. Is there any unsung heroes as well? You said that Owen Beck at the start of the season. Anyone else since kind of January that's came to the fore?
Well, we've got Mexican centre half Antonio Portales has been an absolute beast. I think I went viral for calling him a wall the other week against Aberdeen. And it's true. He's just an absolute monster at the back. Anyone else from the top of my head? Really, everyone on the park's been great. I can't really single anyone out that's been anything like a liability or a weak link. Just as a unit, we're just so well structured, so well organised, and obviously that comes through as well as the manager, the coaching staff, but all of them as individuals to obviously take on board and.
I'm actually a really big fan of Boateng, and he's found himself out the team the last few weeks. I know he came back in against Rangers during the week, but for me, he was that unsung hero because he was the one that allowed Lyle Cameron, Luke McCowan to play. But then Silla's came in. Silla's done very well. So it's I'm a big fan of Boateng. I've not seen as much as Silla, don't get me wrong, because he's obviously not played as many games. Well, he has.
What was the shape of the night, Andy? Because it was 4 of them in the middle of the pitch.
4, and they just let
diamond?
they set the left back of Yoko up front, kind of try to lock them one side and overload the middle of the pitch. And listen, if we're going to talk about the game during the week, we'll be here all day, because for me, Dundee just completely stifled Rangers to the full game, as Derek wants us to move on. So listen, you got to give them credit for it.
Ethan, what's your question for the panel, mate?
You've touched on Tony Docherty getting manager of the month, but given the fact that he's finished in the top 6, he's maybe not done yet as well in terms of what he can accomplish with a newly promoted side. Is he the leading role or the leading candidate for manager of the season award?
Eric Ferguson.
Of course, he's got to be up there. But I had a feeling at the start of the season that Dundee, honestly, I'm not just saying this for the sake of it, I thought he would do well. You normally get that bounce, sometimes teams kind of underestimate you a little bit, but it's the style of football. It's been excellent. And I watched the game where you get beat a couple of weeks ago for an hour. You boss the game, the style of football on a difficult pitch. You get the ball down, you play. You've got individually get some fantastic players, but it's just but you've said it yourself. It's the organisation, it's the players that he's assembled. Likes a certain style of football. So why no? You always get the feeling he's going to be a top manager. He's bided his time. Working under McInnes. I think he was just desperate to go out there. And I think he's just proved. How good a man manager is as well. He just you were talking about him earlier, you get a feeling when he gets interviewed, if you see him speak. To me, he's like somebody you want to play for.
I think the big boy Stuart Taylor's a really good coach as well. He worked with Lambert at Aston Villa, didn't he? Aki's managers for a bit.
Andy, what about you?
I'd love to hear your opinion first.
No, not 100%. It has to be up there, but I'm going to wait till the season finishes before I give you that.
Well, I think
the counter argument to is Callum Davidson won 2 cups, didn't he, with St Johnstone, got top 6, never won it. So,
but I mean, right now, if I was picking right now, I'd say Derek McInnes. But like you said, there's still so much to play for. If Hearts go and win the Scottish Cup, it's going to be hard not to argue for a Stephen Naismith. If Philippe Clement somehow turns it round and wins the league, you could argue for him. Obviously, whether Derek McInnes finish 4th or Dundee finish 5th, I think it's still a bit up in there.
What, you're not going to mention if Rodgers wins a double?
I probably still win a game, man.
Win the game now.
I wouldn't say that's more impressive than. Celtic won 25 trebles in the last 4 years, so he's actually got worse. But for right now, I'd say Derek McInnes.
Alright, we're on Darren for Celtic Fans TV, whose missus is German, and he's an absolute belter. Well done, Darren, for
he
that.
can speak German as well, so he could help with us in the Euros as a translator.
And do you mind asking the question in German, please? I'm kidding on me, I'm not going to put that on you. It's advantage Celtic going into the split. Do you fancy them to finish it off now and win 3 in a row?
Well, you would think so. You asked me 3 weeks ago, I'd tell you no, but obviously Rangers have slipped up in recent times, and Celtic started after the winter break quite bad, and then we almost sleepwalked into a title race. But I think the last maybe month or two, Celtic have just went quietly about going to places like Livingston and getting the jobs done at Celtic Park. But the big one was obviously at Ibrox there. I think if Rangers came out of that winning, then the odds would have been absolutely no chance of us winning the league. If you asked me before the game, I would have bite your horn off for a draw at Ibrox, but after the game it kind of felt like 2 points lost, and Rangers still had the momentum and the game in hand to play. But obviously the last 2 weeks they've slipped up, and that's gave us a huge advantage now. And if you look at the post-split fixtures, I think it kind of benefits us more than it benefits Rangers. 2 away games at Kilmarnock, which is probably going to be the hardest one because we've lost there twice this year, but we've got home games against St Mirren, big home game against Rangers. I think that will obviously be a massive factor in where the title goes. Home games against Hearts, which we lost as well, so nothing's won yet, but I think the momentum has shifted and it's yours to lose now.
I think it was the Motherwell game when Motherwell were up 1-0 against Celtic, and it was one of the worst halves I'd seen for Celtic, and then Carter Vickers came on the pitch and it just changed something.
He did as well, didn't he? He came on and made a difference.
He'd have scored the winner right at the end, and something, I felt that day something changed, because Celtic had been playing really badly. They obviously let Rangers back into the league. Rangers obviously had to win the games, but Celtic had that 7 point and were dropping a lot of points. But it was that something for me changed, and even Rodgers in the media, I thought at the start of the season he was very, I criticised him about it. I just thought it was sort of needed more quality. I think the last wee while I've really liked listening to him. I think that it seems like they're right up for this, and they're enjoying this title race now. And I do think, no, it was that back to that Motherwell game and getting the key players back.
Well, what do you think, Darren? Because obviously the start of the season, Celtic started the season pretty strongly, especially domestically, had that dip towards the middle of the season, and then again there's been a resurgence. Do you put that down to the likes of Carter Vickers, Hatate coming back, or just more getting used to Rodgers' style and eventually sort of flourishing within it?
I think it's just that mentality that's in Celtic just now. Obviously very successful in recent times, not had many title races. Maybe the last one was Ange's first season, but they just seem so calm about it. And then, like you says, having Hatate coming back, I think the first game was Livingston. I was at that game, and you just noticed in the first 15-20 minutes just what a difference he makes. And having Carter Vickers now, touch wood, he stays fit, but he's been, I don't know if it's his knee or his hamstring or something, but he kept going out and in the squad, and then that made Scales and Lagerbielka and Welsh had to come in. We were conceding more goals than Celtic normally do in a season, but having him back, you notice it straight away. Kalmack was missing the last couple of games. You saw him come on at Ibrox and they just looked so off the pace, so I hope if he's fit as well for the next couple of games, that pretty much gives us a full squad for the rest of the season.
Do you think that's why maybe their form dipped a wee bit, because in the past it has been a canter, they've done it at a canter, and they're probably, and you talk about their mentality, psychology, they probably went, this is in the bag again, and they start to just play within themselves. Rangers obviously get a new manager come in, they get a wee surge, he starts to get them going, but they've just refound that. They've went, hey, by the way, we're in a title race, listen, let's and then they've just they flicked that wee switch. They're all tuned in, and now the business end, when the pressure's on, they're starting to play. The thing that I've said on the programme as well loads of time, the Celtic midfield are different class for me. And we're going to compare them to the Rangers midfield. Hate saying it, but they're head and shoulders above Rangers in that respect for me. I just love O'Neill, O'Reilly, I'll get his name right. I keep calling him O'Neill, I don't know why. Hatate coming back, Iwata, obviously McGregor will come back for injury. They're so strong in there. And I get with the Carter Vickers, but for me, just that driving force in the middle of the park, I think that's the difference.
You got a question, mate?
Who wins the league?
Celtic
now, isn't it?
Celtic. Aye, I think so. I know it's hard to see it, but looking at it and looking at the last 3 games, Rangers. Aye.
But I agree with you. I think the Old Firm game was do or die for both clubs. I thought if Rangers won that game, they'd win the league, and I thought if Celtic got anything other than a defeat, I think they would be favourites. It's then coincided that Rangers have then won the next 2 games, which makes Celtic even bigger favourites.
Which is a great link, because we're on to Div, the Rangers fans. Slaney, what we're asking Div?
We were actually talking about earlier about Div.
You're tight, you two, aren't you?
I was in the DMs as well, wasn't it?
Clement came in, incredible what he actually done there, the turnaround, continually winning. What has happened to Rangers in the last few weeks with the dip?
Well, in the last show, I think my question to you guys was, do you think that this squad is good enough, quality-wise, to challenge Celtic? I think unanimously everybody said no. I think what Clement done really well is he improved the likes of Cyril Dessers. He got them up to a level where they were going into games, they were getting the job done. In the last few games, I think the pressure seems to have been getting to these players. The mentality doesn't seem to be right, and that's a big thing I think Big Phil was trying to get into this group. I go back to a game versus Aberdeen a couple of months ago as well. I think Aberdeen went in at the break 1-0 up. The fans were still right on side. They still believed in this squad that they could come out and win the game, and they did 2-1. And that they just seem to have reverted.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a mixture for me with the pressure, not having the mindset to get the job done, as seen probably in the first half of the Old Firm as well in the last 2 games, and also quality. Guys like your Dessers reverting to type, missing loads of chances, not doing the basics right. And I think some of the body language as well, even in that game against Dundee, was just absolutely pathetic. Tom Lawrence in the midfield, when the ball's breaking loose, he's going like that with his arms, he's know what to run after the ball. It reminded me of Lundstrom earlier in the season versus St Johnstone. You just cannot be doing that at this moment in the season. So I think it's a mixture of the mindset and also the quality. Going back to what Derek was saying.
Silver spitting the dummy up at County.
That's right.
They've still got a game to win, and he's only thinking himself. They've still got 15-20 minutes. I don't know exactly, but listen, he should be driving as he's going off, right? And he should have gave his lot. He should be encouraging the boys, but no, it's all about him. I just think it's a case of, listen, when they started to get the results play better, it's because the league was gone. And you sometimes inside you go, well, we're not going to win the league, but we'll go out and the performances come. And all of a sudden you get yourself into a position where you can go and win the league, and all of a sudden the form dips, they don't handle it. That tells you everything about players. Listen, Rangers got some good players, but good is no, if this sounds daft, they're not good enough for it. You need the guys that are that can handle that, everything that comes with it, the criticism as well for the fans, the media, us as pundits. You've got to handle all that. They're not handling it.
I always think, Derek, that when you're talking about title races and going to the business end, you compare the two teams. If you're honestly answering it honestly, how many Rangers players get in Celtic starting 11?
Tav would get him into.
Butland for me.
On current form?
No, I don't. I mean,
I think you would.
current form's hard because your likes of Hattati and that are just back, but you're putting him in the start 11 all day of the week. But in general,
you're right. I know.
arguing maybe 2.
If that, I know.
Tavernier and Butland, probably.
Can I ask your
Probably
opinion?
only
Because I've seen this on Twitter a lot with Rangers fans, this old argument of Goldson, Tavernier, Lundstrom as a time done at Rangers. What would you say, Div? Keep him or...
I think Rangers historically in the last 5 or 6 years have been keeping a hold of players for too long. Go back to Ryan Kent and Alfredo Morelos. If you sell them and their stock's high, people are talking about them in a positive light about the impact that they had at Rangers, but instead they hold on to them and then you end up getting nothing out of them anyway. I think Rangers going forward need to be getting rid of guys a lot quicker. You obviously want to keep your best players, but look where that's getting. In the eyes of the fans, the likes of Goldson, Tavernier, Lundstrom. I don't put Tavernier in that same boat personally. I mean, he's second top goal scorer in the league. Yes, he could be better defensively because he has a defender at the end of the day, but I think I was saying that to Slaney in the late night DMs as well. For 5 or 6 years, you're relying on a right back to win your games of football. That just cannot
think about
happen.
him making loads of mistakes defensively so they've win. Like, other than the media... When else does he make loads of mistakes?
It's the odd mistake.
I didn't see this.
It gets highlighted a lot more than other players, mate. But because he's the captain as well, there's that pressure on him, and he's always kind of the guy everybody goes to. But I would say, like, say Goldson and Lundstrom, I think their time's up. I think you need to go and get better players. And I would agree with Derek. He's talked about the quality right through the spine of Celtic, other than the goalkeeper. You can see the difference. You can see the difference there. So we need to go out and get better players for me.
He's their captain and he's arguably their only match winner for right back. I mean,
I can't believe the criticism he gets.
You know what I think? Yeah, I think
I'm just talking about his general standard of player. The last 3 games, it's been really poor.
No, it has, but
that's true.
Again, it's like.
But his general standard of play over the last 5 years has been incredible for Rangers now.
In terms of the goals that he scored, listen, but that's not even an argument. But and I get with that, but It's just when it's came to the crunch, that's what I can't get out of my head. And this is why we bring in the Golsons, the Lundsums, is when it comes to this time, when we need you, when we need you to come up with the goods, it's not happening. So that's why that question's asked. It's a hard one with Tavernier. I know you've got a relationship with him. You think a lot of him. But I just, for me, just in general play when you watch him, I'm really struggling. I'm struggling.
You still in a relationship with him? How's Jilly? Is Jilly alright with that?
Oh, you've got a relationship with Div there.
We used to, didn't we? Div, can Rangers still win a league?
Well, they can, but do I think that they're going to? No, I don't. I think the gap's too high. Going back to what Andy was saying there, how many Rangers players get into the Celtic team. Kenny was on the show last week there, and I watched that, and he was talking about when Rangers went into a game versus Celtic. I think Celtic were 1 point ahead. Stephen Davis scores a goal at Ibrox, puts Rangers 2 ahead. If Celtic won that, they go 4 points. So of course it's still doable. But then I went back and I looked at the team that day, and I'm the exact same. I arrive at the same conclusion as to how many Rangers players would this team get into that team, and it's only Tavernier and Butland. So I don't think this group's good enough personally to turn that around, and the evidence in the last few games has shown that. One thing I want to say to you guys as well, right? So see, when you go into a high pressure game, at any level really, you go in equal, don't you, with the equal amounts of pressure. It's easy for a lot was made out of the Old Firm game about the character that Rangers showed, but for me it's easy. See, when it's 2-0 down, it's easy to want the ball. It's easy to, run at players. So do you think that the biggest thing with this Rangers team is the mindset?
I think it's hard. I think for me personally, I wouldn't want to criticise somebody's mentality without actually knowing them. And I've said it before, people talk about Tav as a captain. I know for a fact that Tav's very good in the dressing room, very good in the training field, so that blows that out of the water for me. But you talk about going into a high pressure game, I always talk about is your composure to want the ball for the get-go, like you just says there. And that was the difference between Celtic and Rangers for the first half, where it was a game fueled with emotion, high intensity, running power, whatever it may be. Celtic were the only ones that showed any type of calm composure to get on the ball, which is why I highlighted Hatate in the show the following Monday, because for me, he was the only one's harsh. There was certainly a couple of Celtic players, but he was the main one that in situations where people were thrashing at the ball and trying to play things one touch or losing the ball, he was the one that would take a touch, look, play forward. If it wasn't on, keep the ball and dictate the game, like everyone always says that Callum McGregor's done at times. And I thought for me he was the difference in the first half between both teams, and I just don't think Rangers handled it. Of course, conceding within 20 seconds affects that, because you can work on a game plan for 5 days. You can compare if you concede for after 20 seconds, it's out the window for the next.
You thought that affected Rangers' press as well, didn't you?
100%.
Yeah.
I'm not having for a minute that Rangers went into that game saying we're not going to press Celtic, we're going to let their midfield have the ball for the rest of the game. I don't believe that happened, but because you can then see second half the way they change, and then like I touched on, even the first 20 seconds maybe Rangers are getting after Celtic goal. Again, I talked about your mind going sort of foggy for the next 10-15 minutes and then getting back on the game plan, but it was a full half, and it was a mad game. I mean, I know I'm not a neutral, but for the neutral, it must have been an unbelievable game to watch, because it was all over the place, wasn't it, really?
I've never played in a big game, so I can't comment. Derek, what do you think?
I just think I get what Andy's saying, but we don't know the guys. We don't know what they're like, their personality. I can only speak for my experience in the dressing room that I was in at Rangers. We embraced that. We loved that. We get excited about that. We couldn't wait to get out there. We couldn't wait to get on the ball and show what you could do. And if we weren't playing well, then we got up against our opponent and stopped him playing. It was kind of quite simple, kind of basics, but they don't seem to, it's if they feel that. That's the feeling you get watching that Rangers side, certainly that in that Old Firm game, first 45 minutes, as if it was because there was an expectation that Rangers could win this, as if there's that trepidation. Oh, they just didn't handle it. It's clear to see. Yeah. So it is. So they're good players, but it's not just about being a good player. It's the other stuff that comes with it. Being able to handle these situations and take that. And sometimes I don't know. Again, you have played. Enjoy sometimes the criticism in a strange way. That's I can only answer it for my point of view as a player and the guys that I played with.
Slaney, our favourite fans back.
Erin, are you happy with the new appointment?
Yes.
Why?
Exciting. It's good. Different. And also, he actually looks decent.
Are you going to give him time?
Yes.
The fans.
Good, Derek.
That's really important, I think.
I think he looks like he is actually a decent manager, but also it is a different appointment. It's not a manager from another team in Scotland. It's not someone who's without a job. We've put a lot of time into actually getting him to come. He's not even starting until June because they don't want him to go. He's put out a little statement and it looks good. Yeah.
For that being a good appointment, the Neil Warnock one. Holy fuck.
That laugh for everyone.
What were the fans thinking during that period when Neil Warnock was there? At first was everyone was on board?
Yeah.
How quickly were they not on board?
Quite quickly.
Why?
He didn't win a single game in the league.
But it also came out here and didn't it that he gave the players 5 days off.
Get his eyebrows done.
I think.
I think fans started to turn.
He was away at. I think he wasn't. I think he thought he would come up to Scottish football and it would be easy and it would be a great way for him to say, look how brilliant I am, and go somewhere else and do something else, and it just didn't work out. He got us through the cup though.
Not only just giving him time, but does the owner and everyone else need to leave him be and let him do his job? Full control? We have a transfer window straight away, and we'll need some players. So hopefully he's got his eye on some people, maybe Scandinavian players he can bring in, and we'll have a whole new squad. What do you make of the appointment, Andy, Derek?
By me again. Did they gave the players 5 days off?
Neil Warnock did a
when right at the
him and Ronnie Jepson went to Benidorm, didn't they?
Filming.
I think it was 4 days off. 4 days off.
Did you say filming?
4 days
They
off.
played on the Saturday, and I think the squad was told.
So you get
back
yourself
in
in
next
the door,
Thursday,
Andy, and you need to get to know the boys, get to know their personalities quick as, didn't you? And then he gives them 5 days off.
He done a tour at Ibrox, didn't he?
He was doing
One
it
of the days.
Rangers mad.
Rangers supporters club. Actually, I find that incredible.
Which was gutting for me, to be honest. I was a big lover of Neil Warnock. No for
Character.
exactly for a character, and I thought, brilliant. He's coming down more eyes on Scottish football. You know he's going to be box office in some interviews, but you can't act the way you act when you don't win a game. It's as simple as that. And some of the stuff he was coming out with, and I mean, to be honest, telling lies at times. Like, coming after games, praising Aberdeen's performance when the rest of Aberdeen fans were talking about how poor they were for 90 minutes, almost trying to con the supporters and kidding on that they're seeing something or no. But so I was gutted the way it happened. Honestly, I wanted them to.
We were desperate to get manager of the month.
Definitely, you want him to stay and obviously bring more eyes to Scottish football. But it was a mad appointment.
Well, he's in for a treat because he's best pals with Nicky Devlin. He's got some inside info on Neil Warnock.
No. I said, like, no, he's not very. That's fucking disgusting. He's done it to us today. Aaron, like you just said, they're bringing players in. What positions do you think the new manager needs to strengthen?
Defence, centre half, left back actually probably. Right back's fine. Tell me.
Yeah, good.
He's all right.
The left back is it
McKenzie.
He's all right now.
Well, we would need another one anyway.
For a bit of competition.
And for the bench. So
Sort of defence.
Defence, probably the entirety of the defence. We've got Ruby's back tomorrow, so Ruby McDonald fine, but we need subs. I don't feel like we've got much in the way of options. Ruse is going, so we need a keeper.
He's been hopeless for us now.
What about wee Barron? You keeping a hold of him?
No.
Is that a done deal? I've not heard that.
Oh no,
you know something.
No, he's out of contract, but also I'm not.
Nothing.
I think he is overrated.
Yeah.
He's disappointed. Is it Swansea's linked to, isn't he?
Oh, really?
Swansea
better than that.
Aaron, you disappointed in that didn't tie him up?
I think we'd offered a deal and he's maybe looking at a move. It's a good age for him to move, so fine. The rest of them, Majowski obviously, a big risk that he'll be off.
Yeah. I think you'll do very well to keep a hold of him in the summer.
I don't know I think interest might be slightly down, and I don't know. I think we should really try one more season out of him.
How much would you be looking for? How much would you want for Majowski?
Whatever I say, everyone's going to laugh. 8 million, I think.
Oh, I'm definitely laughing. I mean, 8 million.
That's not unreasonable.
It is.
I don't think it is. What? I mean,
what's Adam Eda's? 6 million?
You've been listening to your chairman too much.
Worth more than that.
Would it be Aberdeen pay 500 grand for Majowski? Is that right?
It's about that, I think. Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, if Aberdeen are offered 4 or 5 million for Majowski, Dave Cormack would drive to wherever it is and rip it right off their hands.
We've also been good, I think, what Rangers haven't, in selling players at a good time. So we have Calvin Ramsey is gone. We've got a lot for them. Lewis Ferguson, although that sell-on's not looking good. Ross McCrory. We've done well with player sales. So I think if we don't get a decent enough offer, we will just say no. Because I think he's worth, if we get another good season out of him, he'll be worth more
Do you know how long he's got left in his contract? No, a couple of years, 3 years.
2025, I think he is. 26. What is this? 2024? 2 years, I think. He's got
2 years left.
Yeah, I think so.
What is there any worry that Aberdeen can still go down for you?
They're not
Second bottom.
going down.
Slightly. The County 3 points is a little bit. We're 5 points clear on County. Got to play them
County
again.
look good, don't they?
Play them on the last day. So hopefully that's not important by then. We've got Motherwell and St Johnstone at home. And if we beat Motherwell and St Johnstone at home, I think we'll be okay. St Johnstone also are, 4 behind us? I think they'll be in the mix with County. It's still a risk, though.
Have you got a question for the panel?
So we put a good statement out last week, but no one read it because Dundee were having an issue with their very wet pitch, where Dundee United's pitch was completely fine. But no one read our really good statement about VAR, yeah. Would you get rid of it?
No, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either, but I didn't win it in the first place. I wasn't a fan of it in terms of how long it took to make decisions. The whole thing about celebrating a goal and it could get ruled out 30 seconds later, but now it's here. I would like it to stay, but I'd like changes, definitely. I think the biggest thing for me, and I think it kills the referees in their game, is clear and obvious error. Because I think that what people don't understand with the clear and obvious error is they're in communication with the VAR room. So if they feel like they've seen something, regardless of it being right or wrong, if VAR room feel like, do you know what, he's kind of seen what he says, but he's not made the right decision, they'll not make him go at the monitor because it's not clear and obvious, because he feels as if he's seen what he's seen. I think if they get rid of that, I think it'll make it a lot easier, and I think there should be a sort of time stipulation as well. I don't think you should go 3 minutes with trying to find something. If you don't find it within 90 seconds, it's probably no there, or it's probably no big.
Yeah, if you're looking for the Hibs one, at the Hampden one, where the Hibs goal was ruled offside, which is actually quite nice for us, but that was ages. So if you don't know, if you're looking at is it offside, how long are you looking for?
There's been millions we could talk about with our...
The one that we had at Livingston, where they said, this bit wasn't working, so we were effectively guessing.
Yeah.
So what? Because
that's the one that,
imagine
that can't happen, because
that's a joke.
Offsides is like fact. They say that's fact. That's what they pay the money for. With obviously the technology within offside, so that should never happen. Whether it's an error within VAR or a fault.
And if there's an error within VAR and a fault, and they can't say you go with the decision and it's a goal, and that has to be.
And it then makes you think, though, doesn't it? Like, how many times have we debated where that didn't look offside, but that's the technology. That's what you pay for, and you think, do you know what I mean? I can remember a few. There was remember the Motherwell Fir Park. There was the Jota one. There was a Sakala one at Fir Park. There's been like a few where. Obviously, it then makes you question, doesn't it?
Spot on. Right, we're on to Hearts. Liam Fay, This Is My Story podcast. Hearts firmly in third now. Delighted with the job that Stephen A. Smith's done.
Yeah, it's been massive transformation for the start of the season.
Some great decisions letting players go in January, weren't there?
Any comment? Nah, but they've done well. Like, for where we were at the start of the season, the noise around them, and I think the board take massive credit for sticking with them. Obviously didn't help the fact that he said the situation at the start of the season where McAvoy pretending that he was a manager when everybody knew. I didn't think that set him up for success, but since then it's been a brilliant turnaround. And actually, when I sit and look at the league table now, you think if we'd had a better start to the season, see from November the 1st till now, 23 games played, 17 wins for Rangers, 16 wins for Hearts, 16 wins for Celtic. We're only 3 points behind. I know that's, you look at the start of our league campaign, the first 11 matches, we only took 14 points. Out of that opening bit, we lost at home to Motherwell, drew with Kilmarnock, drew with Ross County, 2-0 up against Hibs, draw 2 each. Normally you've got to do mad arithmetic to try and think, we could have been in this, but actually Hearts beating Motherwell, no disrespect at home, that's not a mad stretch. So we've done brilliant. I think it's great. We're only 13 points behind Rangers currently. I think Hearts and Aberdeen last season finished nearly 40 points behind Celtic and Rangers. Stephen A. Smith has done an unbelievable job at Hearts. If he goes on to get to the cup final, potentially even win a cup, there's no argument that he's manager of the season. None whatsoever. He's done a great job.
How does Nazy better it next season though? Because Nielsen would finish third and he would still get criticised. How does he better that finishing third?
Was the style of football? Would it be the style of football?
Aye, I would say so.
Is Naismith's style of football better than Robbie Nielsen's?
No, at points
right.
You could argue the shape maybe hasn't changed, but mentality is a big thing, I think. And Andy will know because he's played under both, so I can't comment on what it is. But looking at Hearts have came for 2-0 down 4 times this season to get a result out of that match. That didn't happen. That didn't happen before. Hearts fans watching games, if we were 2-0 up, we'd protect that lead rather than go for 3-4. And I know that's easier said than done, etc. But then you lose the goal and suddenly you're back to 2 each under Robbie. Our records in Glasgow weren't great, and that's not to say that I know for a fact that Robbie didn't set the team up not to go win. Obviously he went to go try, but Naismith seems to have been able to have picked something, whether it be a shape, the tactics, that's getting the best out of the players. Defensively last season was a shambles for Hearts because of injury for the start of the European campaign, and he sorted that. Xander Clark, Frankie Kent's arguably one of the best players of the season. Alex Cochrane up there as well. If it wasn't for Owen Beck, he's probably best left back in the league. Defensively, I don't think we've conceded a goal for a corner this season. We didn't score for a corner last season. Like, he's just seen whatever we thought wasn't working, and he's fixed it, and it's working, which you can't complain
There's
about.
a lot of love in there, isn't there? Would you think? Do you not think he's a wee bit naive? But before this semi-final with the comments,
I was going to say about the comments. He's Rangers a bit, isn't he?
Because again, I'm just.
I don't mind that.
I'm just thinking as a player, you know, and you hear him commenting, you know, about you. You think, wow, I'm up for this.
What did he say, Del?
He just says
they've got a record of folding at this stage of the season.
Basically saying when it comes to we've spoke about a wee bit the mentality of the Rangers players is no good enough. He's questioning them right away as well that they'll fear this game on Sunday. I just, when I saw the comments, I just thought to myself, there you go, just play that. That's the kind of.
Do you like it for your Hearts side that he's came out and said that?
Again,
you'll find out at 5 o'clock when you.
My honest opinion is I didn't care what the manager says. They've got to go there. Do you know what I mean? He could sit here and say, "Oh, we're going to smash them," or "We're going to get beat." It doesn't really matter. Whatever you say pre-game, either make you look a right dick or you'll sound like the best guy on planet.
The reason I'm saying that is because you look for every kind of wee margin,
and I think
if you're looking for a wee margin, it's right next to you.
But he used that, you know, to get you up for the game. So you use everything, and I've had somebody that's commented as a pundit, you would use that, but I was quite surprised. I was just quite surprised.
Well, if we look at it from the Hearts perspective, Stephen Naismith this year, Andy will know because he's lived through it. Every team we played every week, it's been 15 years since we won there. We've no one here in 27 minutes, and everywhere you went, Stephen Naismith has near enough fixed all that apart from the Rangers stuff. So I think he's maybe looked at it and tried to back his players up, give them a bit to say, look, now's the time. Like, you're not going to get a better opportunity to go play them. But 150 years history, 19 games at Hampden, no wins. Like, it's big words, so they've got to go there. I
need to ask you about him because he's been. Is this the best season Lon Shankland's had in his career?
Aye,
he's had some good ones, but
for
me, he's best striker in Scotland right now, comfortably for me. And I think he's player of the year. I know people have Matt O'Reilly had a brilliant first 6 months. You know, people are saying James Taverner for his numbers. For me, Lon Shankland's been the best player in the league.
Have you seen him get better each year he's been at Hearts, Andy, when you were there?
I think he was brilliant for the day he came in the door, to be honest with you. But I think the big thing I did say was I always just thought he was a goal scorer, which he's he's much more than that. Even just go to Saturday's highlights against Livingston. I mean, he puts 2 on a plate.
Harry Kane.
He's involved in the other one. He scores a penalty. The only thing I would say is, we talked about potentially losing Miovski. I defended Liam in January saying that the Hearts shouldn't sell him. I'd be almost amazed if he's there next season, because I think for both parties I think it makes sense. I think for Hearts, for me personally, I don't think you can lose somebody like that in a free transfer, because I do think you can get a good fee for Lon Shankland after the last couple of seasons. And then also, what if he goes and has a good Euros? Because for me, I think he should start for Scotland going into the Euros. If he has a good Euros, then
I don't think he'll go to the Euros.
What? Oh, he will.
What, you didn't Clark?
Was that a shadow of doubt?
Aye, he will.
Clark picked 4 goalkeepers and 3 strikers.
4 goalies won't go to the Euros, so one of them will be away.
Shankland's gone.
He's gone.
Right, question, mate. What's your
question? Be a Scottish uproar if he doesn't go.
Make Shankland captain.
Hearts.
I'm still the other camp. You look at his goals this season, could net us anywhere between 5 and 8 million. If he goes and does the same next year, it's another 5 to 8 million pound. That money it's too much for Hearts to turn away, and I don't think Hearts will get a bid anywhere near that for Shankland. So still, for me, the best thing is he stays, gets us to where we need to be, and if he wants to leave in a free contract, then so be it. Like, he'll leave an absolute legend. He's broke pretty much all the goal scoring records at the club. Like, if he stays for another 4 or 5 years, he'll beat Robbo's goal scoring record. You can't let that. I don't think you sell that. If he leaves for nothing, you just take it and thank him for everything that he's done for us.
Right, question, mate.
Actually, just said that. I was going to say, do you think Shankland will go to the Euros?
Go to the Euros?
I would start him.
I think he'll start. I honestly think he'll start. I think maybe not the Germany game, just because I think Steve Clarke's shown it might be a bit more physicality up there, running power, which is why I was almost surprised out of the 2 Scotland friendlies he chose to start Shankland in the Holland game over the Northern Ireland game. But the other 2 games he's playing. For me, I think
he's got to go, in my opinion, he's got to start. He's always a player. I've watched him for a young boy. You could see he always had the quality, but it's all came together, and you're seeing, what is he, 28, 29 now? Normally that's what happens, and to captain, that tells you everything about the boy. I just think he's top quality. All the different goals he scores as well, it's brilliant.
The thing, Saturday was right, Andy said that Hart scored 4 goals, and he pretty much, his movement, his passing, he sets up 3 of them. He was unbelievable on Saturday.
Hikes his miles off it just now as well, isn't he?
I think Shankland's the best.
He's never.
Adam scored 2 the other night, didn't he?
I mean, London Dykes has never ripped it up for QPR at club level anyway. Do you know what I mean? He's always just done very well for Scotland. And we talk about Steve Clarke, like, once he sort of trusts players. I know at the start he was chopping and changing, but once he trusts you and you've done well for him, you'll play. But I think it's got to come into account like how good Shankland's been domestically for 2 years now, where it's like, he's, like you said, he's almost forced himself on the plane. You can't leave him out now.
Yeah. Right, Andy Halliday off Wish, wee Gogsy.
Yes, Gogsy boy.
Andy, take it away.
How are you, mate?
I'm great. How's you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. I'm loving.
He's been hanging about since Andy's joined. Have you seen each other outside of this?
Here and there. I see him on the pitch sometimes.
You look in his window every night, Gogsy, didn't you? Just tell us.
Of course.
Outside his house. Right, mate, what you want to get across here for Motherwell?
Well, I'm happier now than I was last time because, of course, we've done a lot better. We're on the back of 3 away wins in a row, which I don't think we've done for a wee while. Home form's still a wee bit questionable, but I must get across. We've got 19 points from losing positions this season, which I don't know if anyone else has done that in the league this season. Get as many points as that. So I just want to question, what do you do at 0-0? Like, what's the attitude at 0-0? And then
try go 1-0 down.
I know, but
we're unreal for 1-0 down.
But we would be. Let's see if we applied the same attitude at 0-0, then we'd be sitting top 6 quite easily.
It's not an attitude thing.
I don't think it's attitude. No, I just think it's. I mean, some of the games you're talking about, you're coming behind against teams that are very good. You've just got periods of the game. I mean, I play for Motherwell, so I'm certainly not going to disrespect them, but you get no given right to be the best team in the pitch for 90 minutes. I don't think any team does. So obviously, what it does show is, you talk about mentality and character, it shows you've got it in abundance. Again, there was questions at the start of the season. No other players playing for Kettlewell. Is Kettlewell the right man for a job? Surely that answers the question, that you've got 19 points for losing positions.
No doubt about that.
And adjustments you've made within the game. So, obviously, done well since January. You then go into a game where you know it's probably out your hands, but you've got that sort of slight opportunity at top 6. No, you equalise in the 94th minute, you then have a great chance to score in the 96th minute, and you're deflated because you think that chance has cost us top 6, but then obviously it didn't matter anyway because Dundee got the point they needed against Aberdeen. So the main man that should be thanked is the sim right there for us getting that 94th minute goal. Not even heard a thank you yet, Ethan.
For what now?
for the equaliser against Hibs.
Oh, right. No.
Oh, you got the point against Rangers anyway.
I was tweeting Shane Blaney like mad.
Alright, fair dues.
He was also in my DM, so it's all covered.
Fair dues.
Well, we said that the fact that Motherwell are fighting for a top 6 spot is a decent season for Motherwell now.
I would say so. Of course, the arc of a completely sorry, I'll say that again. The arc of a completely successful season for a club the stature of Motherwell is to break into the top 6. Push for Europe is a pipe dream, but we get there sometimes. But to be honest, if we could just replicate what we do at the end of the season, in the middle of the season, because that's 2 seasons in a row I've been coming to speak to you guys, and we start off all right, and then there's a massive trough, and then there's a peak at the end, and obviously it's very hard. It's a marathon, not a sprint. But if we could actually just be a bit more consistent, then I think we would be in a better position. And of course, now we've got the talks of potentially financially getting an investor. The guy that was the VP of Netflix. I don't know what's going to happen of that. I don't know if you've heard anything, Andy.
Same as you.
Same as me, yeah. So, I think my ultimate question for you guys is, for Motherwell to be
consistently challenging for the top 6, how much would you say is a good amount of money to come into the club?
I've not got a clue, but what I'm going to say is, right, I'm being honest here. Listen, I enjoyed watching you see the first half of the season.
Yeah.
You were playing listen, great football, a great watch, but you weren't getting the results. And because of that, you're always going to lose a wee bit of confidence.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad that you have turned the corner, because I think you've got a good manager at the helm. Aye, he's brought in guys like Andy as well with that experience and know-how as well in the background, which is so important. I think. I love it. Listen, I'm an Accies man. This has come from a Hamilton Accies supporter, by the way.
You're not an Accies
so
man.
Is that. I'm an Accies man. Don't worry about it. But no, I'm so glad that they've turned the corner. Honestly, it's good. And he gives the thing about Motherwell. We give the young boys that opportunity. You know, and you look at the boy Lennon. Miller, you know, he's exceptional, but there's others there as well.
Yeah, I don't think enough's been made of the impact that the likes of Davors had coming in first season.
Yep.
Like, he didn't get played until like November time. Same with Georgie Gent.
What about Big Theo working against Dundee?
Of course, Theo,
what about that last half hour? He was sensational,
Theo's
wasn't he?
been probably our biggest success story.
Oh.
This season. Like obviously, no one thought he'd be hitting a barn door with a shotgun.
He was unplayable, wasn't he?
Yeah, like I admire him because of his work rate off the pitch as well, trying to learn how all the great strikers do. Like,
and is that not down to the manager?
Oh, Andy says the manager does take him to the side.
There you go. I think the manager plays a big part in that.
The analysis has been spot on, and like he's learnt so much more playing for us than he did at St Johnstone. So it is great to have the thought that he is going to be there next season. He's still under contract. We just have to tie up a few more players. Obviously, we're losing Spitz to Hearts, but like
that's a Saurian, isn't it?
You said Kettlewell goes and
I knew something was coming there.
It's a sore one, but like we do it time and time again. We find gems from nowhere. Like Blair Spittle was under the thumb of Charles Cook at Ross County, and then he comes in, has one really good season and one not so bad season. So like it's just the cycle of a football at Motherwell. Like they'll always have their moments where they're really good, and then of course if someone hits 10 goals in a season for Motherwell, you always get the punter saying, oh, there's someone that's going to go and pick him up. But that's just how it is. We're a feeder club.
Just quickly, is Lennon Miller the best prospect you've seen at Motherwell?
Since David Turnbull, yes.
So is you thought David Turnbull was better as a kid than Lennon Miller? I know he was a wee bit older when he came into the team.
Yeah, I think Lennon's got that on him. Like the fact he's a bit younger than David was when he peaked at us.
Different players and all.
Like it's all about how much he's going to be worth to the buying club. Like because we will sell him, and it's sad.
He's only got a year left after this summer, so do you think they'll sell him this summer?
Well, we've got to basically either put out a really good social media post about him, or
Taylor Swift involved.
Yeah, get Taylor Swift having the song in the background. But we should be doing everything we can to add another 2 or 3 years on his deal, so we can actually get more money for him.
Does Andy Halliday get a cut in that? You know, because he's doing his bit with
I'm bigging him up every week. He's a joke. He's very,
If
very
Taylor
good.
Swift singing a song for us, he can be on backing vocals. It's fine.
Take it.
I love the fact that US investors are coming in though.
Damn it.
I like to see like happening with Hibs and then obviously Motherwell. I think it's good for your game.
Oh, definitely.
I really
Depends how much they invest.
aye.
Because I think the big thing with Motherwell is they want to keep fan ownership, which I think if somebody's going to invest millions, then the fan ownership's going to give way. It's as simple as that. If you want a certain amount of investment, so it'll be interesting to see what sort of deal comes.
It's a good one. You've been texting their manager recently.
Who Hibs?
No, Hibs aren't here, mate.
No, I know. So I was going to say the Hibs fans shat the
How's Hibs no
Aye,
game?
shat it.
well. I think the season they've had. That's the reason why. No finishing top.
There is a
six for that.
Hibs fan in here, but
There is. So he's going to come up on stage. You know, Michael Pentland.
A big round of applause.
Yes,
Come on,
Pets, let me ask you a couple of questions.
a round of applause.
I'm going to come up on stage, no chance.
Let me ask you a couple of
I've got a
questions,
face
Pets.
from behind the camera, no in front of it.
Right, so 2 years ago, it was renowned as the Andy Halliday Derby when I put you into the bottom 6.
Yeah.
So it happened again at Fir Park last week. How did it feel?
Disgusting. Nah, our season's just been a shambles again. I don't know. It's always harder when your city rivals are doing they're flying, aren't they? Liam's sitting there buzzing.
What is it, 23 points, is that right, between the two?
It'll be about that.
That's mental.
You getting rid of Montgomery, Pence, or you want him to stay?
Well, that's what I was going to say. I'm going to do a Slaney. I'm going to sit firmly on the fence with it.
Fucking no, Slaney that. Fuck.
I just think it's difficult because he's had a window. That's what everyone's going to say. Has he brought in his own players? He has had a window, and he's brought in some good attacking players. But everyone's looking at him. We've always known the two centre halves. I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but they're not good enough. And we brought in a centre half in Triantis, and he ends up playing him basically centre mid. You don't want to be one of those teams that keeps changing managers all the time, but ultimately that's what we are, and that's what we're doing. But just because you've changed managers previously doesn't mean that you should stick with a guy that's maybe not the right person. So it's a hard one for Montgomery, because I think you basically need to look at it from where he's come in. Have we improved?
Aye. Going forward.
For somebody that's nervous, you're doing a lot of talking, mate.
That's why, because I'm nervous.
They've actually played, so we talk about it all the time, they do play some very good stuff at times, don't they? They just concede too many goals, like you said. So
the forward areas, like Maya Leader that's come in, Marcondes that's come in, like they're decent, they're good, but defensively it's
he's not addressed that though, is he, the defence?
But surely he's asked for centre-backs in January. He's not went, I'm happy with the two centre-backs. Does that then come down to recruitment?
Play Marcondes at the back.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But they're both in loan, no? Malida and Marcondes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're not even going to have them next year.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So they need replaced as well as centre-halves.
I think the centre-halves is the issue, and I'll probably get slaughtered for saying this. I think Paul Hanlon's maybe still the best defender at the club.
But if you're going to play high attacking football, you can't have somebody like Paul Hanlon playing centre-back. He can't run.
Are you telling me Rocky or Fish are better than him?
No, I don't think any of them suit the way that he wants to play, mate, and that's what I'm saying. That's where he needs his own players in, mate.
But even in January, he's had the opportunity to bring in a centre half, and he's not.
But I'm sure he'd have been saying, I want a centre half, surely, mate.
So that's why. And then on the flip side of it, it's like, is it Montgomery's fault?
Yeah.
Then need to look at, obviously the statement that's come out is going to be, we're looking at the whole football operations side of it. Everything's going to get analysed at the end of the season. So does that include people like Brian McDermott, director of football? Does it include the scouting team, all that sort of stuff? And it's difficult because you don't want to just keep going through managers all the time. But if he's not the right person, it's a good laugh for everyone else. But
would you just keep him?
I would.
You've got to give him another window at
I
least.
think so,
Because we're not talking about, obviously, they're poor at the back. I mean, I'm old-fashioned that way. As soon as obviously I'm never going to get that opportunity again, but I tried when I was in for the short period, was just to be solid, don't concede, and then try and bowl for that. Because you always sometimes find, well, I used to think even you'd pick up one or two of the younger boys that could come in every now and again, freshen up, but get the basics right, don't concede, and then just bowl for there. But he seems to have gone the opposite way, innit? Because Hibs are, again, they can be a good watch, can't they?
Aye.
They've got some good players going forward, but when you know you're going to concede, it just doesn't give you confidence. I'm just talking as a former midfield player. I used to love knowing that I had a back four that were going to keep the ball, and a goalkeeper back five that were going to keep the ball out the back of the net, which allowed you to kind of go and maybe try things going forward and that. So, but they've maybe not got that. It's a horrible feeling.
Even as a fan, like Liam said that they're about Hearts the opposite. They've gone behind in games. Like looking at the Livy game, sorry Angus to bring this up, but the Livy game, they're 2-0 down, they come back and win the game. Hibs are the opposite of that. You get ahead, like the Motherwell game's a prime example of that. You're basically in the top six and you can't hold on. It's a throw-in that you concede from, and it's happened so many times this season in terms of conceding late goals from winning positions, and it's something like 20 odd points.
And I heard the manager right after the games now if they got top six, they were going to celebrate it, and there was kind of a mixed response to that, because Hibs really should be
100%.
top six with everything they've got. So should they be celebrating that? You know, it should be a given.
Yeah.
But does that tell you where he is? Is he kind of?
And you might say he's not had long, but he came in after, it was something like 4 games. 29 games in the league.
Which is what I was kind of going to say, so I'm going to contradict myself a wee bit, because my answer is I do think they should keep Nick Montgomery, purely for the fact that I think they've improved as a team, and I think if they improve individuals, because I think his style of play has improved them, they're a better watch. If they get players that fit his system, I think they can do really well. But then, to contradict myself, it can't be like Lee Johnson where he says, we'll give him a window, then you sack him after 4 games, and then the new manager comes in, the window's passed, he's worked with the squad he's got. So I think that is the balance, where if they're doing an investigation now, seems like whatever the decision will be, they'll make it soon and then they move
Have
forward.
you heard who's doing the investigation? Gary O'Connor and Derek Reardon, so he's a wee fine mate. Right, who on to next?
We're on
Livy.
to Livy. My heart's breaking for Davey. He's been absolutely incredible.
Speaking of a lot this week, haven't you? Seriously, genuinely.
I just think he's been he's been absolutely brilliant for the league. The job he's done with Livy is brilliant, and I think the type of person that he is, that there might be offers in the summer for him, but I think he'll stay with Livy and get them back.
Do you think there'll be offers for him?
Aye, I do. So I think the job he's done there is incredible. I think they've just ran out. With the budget they've had, I know he does speak about it a lot, but the budget they've had, I think it has been hard, and I think he's maybe punched above his weight for a long time, and I think the type of man it is, he will get Livingston back up, rebuild them, and then I think he'll go out with his head held high.
Well, why don't you ask Angus if he wants
Angus, what is the sort of noise for the crowd?
It's, to be fair, it's probably quite a bit different than that. To be fair, I think there is a lot of people who think that his time is essentially up. As like if you've said there,
Right.
he has definitely punched above his weight. I mean, we would never have imagined that that season that we did come up from the Championship, start of the season, none of us could have ever imagined being probably top half of that Championship. Never mind getting promoted.
Yeah.
Never mind staying in the league for 5 years. Only being in a relegation battle once, which has now came here. And I think that's probably the thing that's made a lot of people maybe become sour to Martindale, is because the last 2 seasons, it's the last day before the split that we've ended up in the bottom half, to then suddenly being on track for a current worst points tally in the top flight, which is already held by ourselves, funnily enough, as well. So I think that the manner of it is, I think, the big issue there as well. You mentioned the budget and stuff like that as well, and I think that he's got to hold his hands up for that as well. In January, he said that $5,000 worth of players was removed from the club. And you're looking at the players who left the club, and you're saying they weren't contributing anything at all. So the money's been heavily mismanaged there as well. Also, the squad that we have, I think that going back to last season, Bruce Anderson, Joe Newbley, top goal scorers, Stephen Kelly was our player of the year and everything like that as well. So from an attacking front this year, it's completely evaporated. We've been playing a 3-5-2, which doesn't get Stephen Kelly in his best position, doesn't get Newbley in his best position, and for some reason he just doesn't fancy Bruce Anderson, who had an amazing first season for us. So he's got to take a bit of the blame for that, I believe, as well. And it's not even just been this season. You go back to the January of the season before, we got beat off of Inverness 3-0, and it just seems since then we've just completely plummeted to where we are just now. Maybe does that mean that there is something that needs to be freshened up? I don't know, but it's no secret that Martindale is a big figure at the club, running a lot of things. You're not just losing him as a manager; you lose him in everything.
Paint him, decorate, or what else?
Would you like to see him? Would you like to see a change?
I think the time is probably up for him to maybe take a step back, and even if he goes back into doing what he did so well, the kind of maybe helping out with everything else, not being the full control, because I think it's only like a negative kind of impact he's having on the team right now. You see him, we've been sitting 12th like the entire season, he's still berating players and everything like that. It doesn't seem like a good atmosphere at the club right now, and maybe they need somebody, maybe they could bring somebody in as like an assistant who is going to be a bit more of a personality kind of type. Marvin Bartley was there before, and he seemed to be a really good balance between the players and the manager, who kind of not necessarily a good cop bad cop kind of thing, but somebody who had a bit more time for the players and stuff like that. Whereas right now it just seems as if they're just getting berated for everything. And to be fair, the performances, especially of the defence, deserve that.
Are you worried, Angus, if you go down? I've said this for a few years, to be honest. I think the Championship in Scotland's getting better and better. Yeah. I think there's a lot of big clubs in the Championship, and I think it's getting harder. I say that, but Dundee United have obviously got a massive budget. Even they're struggling. I know I think, was it 3 points ahead of Raith Rovers just now? If you look at Raith, you look at Airdrie, you look at some of the teams in the Championship that are getting better. Do you worry that if you do go down, you might struggle to get back up?
Yeah, to be fair, I think that the biggest thing that's going to be the circumstance for that is that there's court cases going on in the club right now. So God knows when they're going to be resolved. You're talking about, talking about budgets and stuff.
Davey's a lawyer, I know.
Yeah, you have no idea what the budget's going to be for the Championship. We could end up having a budget that's, top end of it, or, we could lose the court case and then we're suddenly, losing cash and we're having to play, whoever we can kind of get our hands on. So I think there's a lot that kind of plays into that. But as you say there as well, yeah, I think that we might take a little bit of confidence that we put two of the better teams in the Championship, three of the teams in the Championship in Cups this year. We've beat Raith Rovers, Partick Thistle and Ayr United. But, as you say, it's a very competitive league, and, you can easily stay in there for a while, as, a lot of teams have found out, like the Hibs have been in for a while.
What do you think, Davey will still be there next year?
Aye.
I think so, aye.
Derek?
It's hard to say, but listen, when I look at Livingston, I just think, and you look at the rest of the teams, squad-wise, I think they're there for a reason, and because of the players that they've got, they're not as good as others. And again, sometimes you can get away with that with a manager, you know, with these ideas, freshness. But you're saying Davy's been there for a number of years. Maybe the guys get a wee bit kind of sterile to it, you know, and it's not had that impact. And I think that's why they find themselves doing that.
It's been the defence, innit? The defence is honking at
Oh, 100%.
No, being horrible, but
even
I think if you ask most Livingston fans, they would genuinely believe that our attack is capable of doing a lot more. You know, if you had Yengi up top with Nubly and Dan Mackay, and the wings with Stephen Kelly in the 10, I don't think that's a bad.
Bradley's decent and Holt, good players.
Big boy Nubly, why does he always play in a wide area?
He's been the biggest surprise of the season at every club for me. Like, what has happened to him this year?
I've seen him tracking back as well. I mean, if I've got a guy like that with that physicality and the quality that he's got as well, he's a decent player, you're getting him as your focal point, aren't you? You know, when you can play around about him. But I'm always surprised when you see him playing in a wide area.
I do think that he is better as a winger. To be fair, I don't think he works.
Better as a winger, is he?
Left wing, definitely. I'm with you.
That's surprised, aye.
Because when he came in, it was him and Forrest on the wings with Bruce Anderson through the middle, and that's where we've played. I'd probably say maybe.
Must be the tallest winger in fucking Europe, isn't he? About 7'8".
But do you know it's interesting, Angus? Like when Liam were obviously talking about Miovski and Shanklin, where there was interest for Newbury last year, and Davies coming out saying we want £2 million because that's what we sell Dykes for. I mean, now that £2 million, you're talking about the budget that Livingston's got. Imagine they got £1 million for Newbury last year, or 700, whatever it may be, to increase the rest of the squad.
Just take like what 50k, get some money.
50k, I'm not sure.
Well, considering he's playing at right wing back for most of the season, I guess that's what to say. But no, you're spot on about that as well. You know, in terms of the players who've played for us, we've always been a team who've done well at taking players from, you know, lower league sides. You know, Dykes is obviously the main one. You go back to even yourself, Doran, Snodgrass, taking players from, you know, players who've been released from bigger clubs like Halkett, Declan Gallagher, and that's happened as well. The kind of recruitment has been, I don't know if it's been forced, if it's been priced out of players, but we've now started having to go to, you know, different markets. We've signed a couple of strikers from like the Indian League who have been absolutely woeful, signing players who are about 35-year-olds who've played, you know, 200 games from League Two, and that's the only thing Davy's saying that's good about them. You have to ask, you know, how he's played 200 games, how many good ones has he actually had when you're watching them now? Because yeah, the defensive performances have definitely showed that. I think that we're only one goal away from conceding the same amount that we did in the entirety of last season, which tells you how brutal it is.
Have they got a recruitment guy, Livy? Is it David does all that himself?
Still, yeah. It's Martindale. That's the issue.
Signing somebody and painting their house at the same time.
Andy, like, do you know what though, Andy? I know what you're saying there, but and it is that's steep. Obviously, the numbers he's saying for Newbury and that, but I do like that the managers in this league, they value our players higher than what they go. You see that some of the prices that are going to do in England in the Championship, and the money's scary down there. But I do like when maybe an English team or something comes in for the players up here. I do like that the value would go up. I know it's hard with it.
I'm not suggesting that undervaluing your players, but there's realism with the English market. It's just completely different for up here. When Davy's talking about budget, and you can bring in 750 grand or $1 million to sell your player. And then next year, like he says, he's probably going to be worth. Is he out of contract? Has he still got a year left?
Newbury?
Aye,
he's away. Him, Obelai and Bruce Anderson
down, so
to go.
If you go down,
he's been
Bruce
outstanding.
Anderson's a strange one for me. I really like Bruce Anderson for Livingston.
I think that if, you know, obviously apart from like the old firm, I think every single other team in the league, even if they're just bringing him on last,
I would take him.
100%. Guy's proven scoring in the league. I think at one point this season, like only a couple of months ago, he had the best shots on target to goal ratio, which is, you know, incredible for a striker. I think like next one was like Joe Shaughnessy and stuff like that. But you know, you give him a couple of chances, he will take them. Like Livy's top goal scorer this season, and he's not getting on the park.
Aye, with 3, but it's no.
Newbury Anderson excited. Like honestly, if I was a manager, 2 up.
Aye, you'd have them up, wouldn't you?
Do you know who he reminds me of, Bruce Anderson?
Bang it,
and we're going to go on to Ross in a minute. He reminds me of Simon Murray, where you almost feel like he just needs the right manager, the right fit, and then he'll excel. Because Simon Murray's been a bit like that, where he's jumped around a few clubs and done well in spells, but then he's found a place where he can really sort of flourish. And I mean, what a season he's having as well.
Just quick, Angus, you got a question, mate?
Yeah, I guess just how, at what extent, if you guys are saying that you think Martindale should stay or anything like that, how far do you think it has to go before they do make that change?
Well, I think you addressed it yourself. He has punched above his weight for a long period of time, because it reminds me of, we've got a Hamilton Accies fan here, Derek, anyway, that'll remind that every year people would predict Hamilton would go down, every single year, and they stayed in the league for 5-6 years before they eventually did go down, and like he says, it was just so difficult to then turn it round. Livingston's been the same. Everyone predicts Livy to go down every year, whether it's Livingston or Motherwell or St Johnstone or Ross County, whatever it may be, but Livingston's predominantly who everyone predicts. He's then been fighting for almost top 6 on a couple of occasions. There's been occasions where he's actually comfortably avoided relegation. This has just been the year where it's eventually caught up with the squad. So, I mean, I'd be amazed if Livingston decided to get rid of him. Don't get me wrong, but then it's like he says, you've got to give him the opportunity to try and get them back up.
We always had a soft spot, I think, for Livingston, and it's a kind of similar to what Andy's saying about Accies, because they were always the underdog. They're always, up against it. But sadly, time catches up with you. I just think, this season, when it hasn't been going too well, I think they should have went kind of back to their old identity, and go a wee bit more direct, because you could see the change in them. They were really physical when they first come up, but then they gradually wanted to play a wee bit more. I understand that, but when needs must, and you're desperate just to win games, doesn't matter how you win them, just win them. And that's how, when you think you're talking about B. Anderson there, and Newbley with that physicality, why would you go a wee bit more direct with that midfield? Kelly, Pittman supporting, but I just think they've tried to overplay. For me,
I think that game at Hearts just sums it up, is that we went 2-0 up and not a single Livingston fan had any belief that we were going to hold on for the rest of the hour mark. So the solidity is just completely evaporated from the team, and it's a thing that needs to be addressed.
What a man, Angus.
Outstanding, isn't it?
Bad.
Who would you say has been the best fan of the day, Derek?
The best fan?
Aye.
Oh, Aaron, without a shadow of a doubt.
Pence.
My God.
Pence was the worst by a mile.
Excellent.
Christ.
You've just got this.
Man. Thank God she's here.
So
this will be the last fans forum, boy. I'm sorry, but
right, guys, we're moving on to Ross County. We're joined with Ross from the County Corner.
Left on Tuesday to get here.
I left after you.
How good's Don Cowie been, mate?
Unreal, I think.
He has, mate, hasn't he?
Yeah, just looking at what Don had to, inherit the mess that the club were in and stuff like that was just, probably less said about it the better. It was like 79 days, I think, that Derek had his third spell, and just from how well it started to then how badly it ended was incredible. So the fact that Don's managed to come in and even just give us like a fighting chance of, I would even say when he came in, of avoiding automatic relegation, whereas now, we're 12 points clear of the bottom, and personally I feel confident. I think we'll catch St Johnstone and finish above them, and I don't think Aberdeen are out of it either. And it's just it's the nature of the performances as well. I mean, Sunday in itself against Rangers was like the first time we've ever beaten them, but the fact that the performance was so good throughout it as well, and there's been moments there as well, like going to Pittodrie, I thought we were at least worthy of a point, if not 3 there. And it was just 2 defensive mistakes that cost us. So, he's building on it, and there's momentum, and certainly at home it's like 11 points from 15 that he's picked up in Dingwall, which is against likes of Hearts, Rangers, Livingston, St Mirren and Hibs, which is good going.
You're spot on. As the performance has been brilliant. One thing obviously beating, as you said, the Rangers, but in the manner of it, and some of the players were looking outstanding, weren't they, Andy?
Fully deserved to win.
It was a style of football as well, wasn't it?
Aye.
Wasn't he sitting in? He's had a go. But he's installed that belief into them. I mean, when you go back to Derek Adam, what did you think you were at? What was going on? Some of the statements he was coming out with after the game.
When Derek got appointed, I was actually really happy with the appointment because of what he meant to Ross County when he was here previously. Like, for a Ross County manager to go 40 league games unbeaten, get us promoted to the top flight for the first time, get us to a Scottish Cup final, finish in the top 6, they were all really good achievements, and he kind of continued it in England with the promotions with like Plymouth and Morecambe and whatnot. So when he came back, it was really good. Started really well. It was like 3 clean sheets in his first 3 games, 7 points in 9. So it started really well. But then after the match, we were in the media room afterwards, and we didn't know what was said to the BBC. So when he came out to speak to the written press, he was just asked a basic question, what did you think of the game? And he started really normally, but then it was like a button was hit where he just switched, and then it was the rant on Scottish football. And it was, I don't think anyone in the room could quite believe it, but kind of like picking it apart, it felt like it was a bit premeditated, because I don't think If that game had finished 0-0 against Dundee, I think he would have probably come out and made similar comments. I don't think it was just purely the late goal.
And it's the effect that interview, when he comes out with all that spills into the dressing room, and the players then are looking at him in a different way as well, and that affects them. At the end of the day, it's all about the players. It's making sure they're in the best mentally, physically, when they go onto that part. So it was only going to end one way.
Can I ask you a question, Ross? See, on Don Kelly, obviously we only get to see the Sky game, but what has he changed in terms of style, personnel with Ross County since he's took over?
There's been a mixture. I think we've. I'm going to kind of contradict this. Despite we've not kept a clean sheet under Don yet, we actually look more solid defensively. Right. I think that last 20 minutes against Rangers, that probably sums it up. Rangers didn't look like they were going to create any chances against us. Narrowing down the spaces in front of the back five, so be it. We've looked decent there against Hearts as well. When we're 2-0 up, Hearts weren't really kind of creating any chances as the game went on. So there's been that. I think we've played a box in midfield at various times this season, which we did again on Sunday, which worked to good effect. Like Danda and Sims just behind Simon was just sensational. The front three.
Yeah.
So that's worked really well. Even Malky and Derek at times played that box, and we actually picked up some decent results with it. So there is obviously something there, but obviously under Dawn, I think he's tried to utilise it a little bit more. And even at times we've actually gone with the front three of Jordan White, Simon and Brophy up front, which has kind of caused teams different problems, because if we're going to be conceding goals, go at teams, try and outscore them.
I think it's been brilliant what he's done with Danda. Because when you sign a pre-contract, sometimes their form kind of just dips a wee bit. Understandable as well, but he's just went for there. He's kept going and playing at a real high standard. So again, that's down to the management.
I think
Murray's been sensational, hasn't he?
100%. And just on Derek's point on Danda, it was actually interesting because at the time where the pre-contract was announced, he did have a wee dip, but then he was out for 2 or 3 games, and that kind of then coincided with Don.
Don't listen to me, I'm talking shite.
It was when he came back in under Don that it just looked like he had a new lease of life, and Simon's just been unreal. I think we all know what Simon would kind of bring to a team, but it's the fact his all-round game, I would say, has improved as well. His goal scoring record this season, I think it's 18 in all competitions, 11 in the league. I think most teams would probably want that, especially in our position down in the bottom 6 and stuff. So
it's that energy he plays with. I think
enthusiasm.
I think it rubs off in the rest of the players as well. And they were. You say these were excellent against us.
I think they'll stay up.
Thoroughly deserved.
I think they will stay up, Ross County.
But yeah, I think.
I hope so.
They'll be dragged in there.
Aye, I hope so. How's Big Roy?
I don't think they'll be in the playoff. I think they'll finish above St Johnston.
Aye,
Johnston for me. Aye.
The big fella's not wearing beige anymore, so
we'll get back to that, innit?
He's got to get back to the beige, man.
By the way, Ross, what an addition, mate. That was brilliant. Well done.
I don't know if you guys have had a managerial change in your career where a number 2 has stepped up to be a number 1, and it might have been to varying successes. How does it work? And when it goes well, what's behind it when it works well, and what happens when it doesn't? Because I think like the last season, I think when Liam Fox took over at Dundee United, we saw how it didn't work there, but early signs under Dawn, it is working.
Great question. Yes, had it
a few times. I think it's just a different voice. I know that sounds a bit stupid, even though they're already there, but they're the main voice. They're the main sort of one on the training pitch. And as much as they've worked under a previous regime, everyone's got their own ideas. Sai's a perfect example now because he's an assistant to a manager. If Mick left tomorrow, Sai would come in. Even though he's there, it would be a different voice, and you might tweak a little things that are different to maybe what Mick thinks.
We'd go for top the league to fucking bottom.
Exactly. So, I always find it interesting because if we take St Johnstone promoted within for years. I mean, when it was I forget his name, he was a Kelly manager as well, not an Irish guy.
Tommy Wright,
and then it was Callum Davidson, and then it was Stephen McLean, and it was there's got to come a point where you maybe go a wee bit different, and then obviously they got a little jag initially when Craig Levine came in, so I think it can work both ways. Don Kiwitt clearly, since he's came in, looks as if he's got the best of the players, but what I will say is that I genuinely think it would have been impossible not to improve under Derek Adams. I just think the players must have been that sick of his comments and the media and the way he treated them as individuals and the Scottish game in general. I think you couldn't help but bring in an improvement.
Who did you have going for assistant to manager?
No one permanent, but obviously when Warburton left, it was then Graham Murty interim charge, and then he done it twice actually. He done it twice after Pedro. I don't think I've had any that I can think of permanently. I might be wrong though.
You sign no?
No, I don't think so. No. You, Derek?
I can't think off the top of my head, but that's the art of management, isn't it? You know, there you go, because players are funny species, aren't they? You know, they're very delicate at times,
Yes.
isn't they, the way you've got to treat them.
100%.
But you've got to always find ways to keep them on their toes, to keep performing. And that's how sometimes you get a bounce when the manager gets sacked. Assistant comes in again, maybe tweaks a few things, but if you're there as a manager, it's important. And as I say, keeping them on their toes. That's bring other people into it. You know, sometimes bring them into kind of when you're doing your team talk. Bring them into training, like guys for other sports and all that. That's happened over the years as well. You know, even these guys that come in and they always, I don't know, like kind of for your mentality and all that. You've got to find something during the course of a season to keep the guys, you know, motivated.
You always thought Don Cowie he looked like a manager, didn't he? Although he was the assistant, you always thought eventually Don Cowie was going to be a manager, didn't you?
Looks like a school teacher to me.
Aye, clever guy, isn't he? You could tell how he talks. He talks well.
I felt like-
think so. Aye.
It felt like it was always the plan for him to eventually kind of
Take over.
step into, you know, be Ross County manager, and especially when he's had like such an affiliation with the club. I think he's probably the club's biggest success story in terms of coming through the youth academy, going down to play in England. And well, he's been part of the coaching staff now with four different managers, and even like as a player, he played under like Rodgers, Sean Dyche, stuff like that. So he has played, you know, under good managers and even picked up stuff from them.
I've had managers and assistants that have been absolute chalk and cheese with each other. Mark Venus and Tony
Mark
Mowbray,
Venus,
man. Honestly.
Mowbray will tell you one thing and
Venus,
Venus will
what?
go, "What? Forget what he's
What's he
just
doing
told you." Like, what?
Chalk and cheese.
I loved that when you were telling about Mowbray. You were playing on his side and he was telling you every pass. he
Every
played.
pass I had to make,
That's
aye.
a nightmare.
Oh.
Doing that every time Andy gets the ball, isn't he? Loves that Mowbray. You had an assistant that's became.
No, the only thing I had.
You should. Bob Malcolm was brilliant when he took over for Fergie.
No, I was the.
By the way, Big Bob's a good coach.
Yeah, he's good.
And because the reason he's good, because he's got patience. Our Barry didn't have patience. That was the one thing, as you know. But Bob had that patience. I think that's important as a
You know where I
coach.
actually had it? Celtic wasn't it exactly that, but it was Mowbray when
Lenny
came in, and Lenny was working with the Resis. And what I liked about it was he could see the bad eggs in there. So when he got there in charge, he knew some of what the players were up to or some of the bad attitudes, and he was quickly to get them out. So that's what I liked.
But Lenny was another one as well. Even when he was a reserve manager, you knew he was going to go and be a manager, didn't you?
100%.
Yeah.
Just that sort of aura he had.
I've got to say, boys, I've been waiting for this. No, you don't. Sit down. Sam, this is
Sam,
exactly
come on.
why he's saying he needs a piss, because you know exactly what.
Oh, Sam,
Come and sit next to him. Come and sit in the middle of him, Sam.
We've got Sam Smith from Misery Hunters podcast.
Crack
This is
singer
why
as
he's
well.
saying he wants to go for a piss, because I'm sure you've seen his comments.
And by the way,
It's
seen him
exactly
in- I
where
seen
we're
him
going to
in-
start.
I seen him on Saturday when I was getting
are
into
you
the
looking forward to
commentary.
June 18th?
Eh,
You're fighting Big Fury.
I still
You batter him or not? Look at you. Muscles over there.
And he's in for you. Look. Might battle me in a minute. Might squash.
I was I went out into like the wee bit where like, we sit for the commentary, and I like seen you, and it just came back to me. I started piss myself, and then he goes on the podcast on Monday and says, "Have you seen Jamie Langfield and Brian Kerr going to sit in their seat?" But Jamie Langfield's a goalie coach that was down on the bench because it was Alan McManus that was to be brought.
That's total disrespect, isn't it? No, Jamie Langfield.
You were a hot topic on the St Mirren Facebook.
How many replies was there to it? Was it how many threads?
Oh, there was a lot. There was a St Mirren supporter on Twitter. I think me and the Kelly boy were talking about it before, man. That St Mirren supporter lost a rag.
What was the worst comment you've seen?
It was the one I think I'd said to you before, a guy on one of the forums called you a failed footballer.
That was his dad.
No, do you know what, mate? It was funny because I did clock him at the game, but me and Melissa were standing at the tapestry, and I seen you, and obviously I remembered I'd said the comments, and I went to myself, and then obviously Brian Kerr and the other boy was was sitting there, but I could feel the lip gone again.
You're going to start greeting?
I thought I'm going to start. I could feel the lip going when I went down there and I seen you, and I was like, I'm going to go and speak to him. But that started going. I went, I can't. I'll just need to go to the seat. But I think again, and it's no me backtracking. You're sitting on the fence. The comments been almost. It was a complete coming for a complete respect.
No,
Andy. But I think you've no. I'm going to double down on it, Derek. I'm going to double down on it. I think.
Well, why don't we take it to Sam? Sam, how many St Mirren's players get in Kelly's team?
I think, see if you were to look at the league position, like Kelly are 8 points, they've sailed ahead of us, and I mean, like the swing, I mean, we were 2-0 up at Rugby Park 4 weeks ago, and we were 4 points ahead of Kilmarnock, and they were 8 points behind. So I think if you were to look at like the points difference, you would probably think, aye, But I don't know, maybe the midfield. I think like we've got Canu Bacchus, Boyd Munce, and O'Hara are probably they're flashier names than Polworth and Donnelly, but Polworth and Donnelly have both done really, really, really well for Killie. So I don't think it's as clear cut as what you said it was at the start. But even like guys in defence like Gogic as well, Tanzer's had another really good season.
I'm big about the wing backs. Strain and Tanzer.
I think you can. I know, but you would have Armstrong in over Strain.
Again, this is what I said. This is what I said to Sido. If I'm building my own team, I'm creating my own formation. So, and Tanzer and Strain would be my fullback.
The strikers as well make such a difference. Like for Kilmarnock, they've obviously got Vassell, we have Mandron and Olasanya. We kind of struggle for goals, whereas Killie got a lot out their forwards. But I don't think it was as mental as what get made out, because some people totally, I mean, St Mirren fans lose their ag about everything and anything. We've got, again, like I think I said that we were here this time last year, like folk want the manager sack because you lose 2 games. So, but again, it's been a really good season, for us. I think any season that St Mirren finish in the top 6, I think should be considered a success. But it would just be a wee bit of a dampener now if we didn't go and finish it off and finish in 5th and Dundee pipped us. But I think we're in a different position from what we were last season. We went into the top 6, we were always chasing. We were always it was never in our hands. It's in our hands this time, and I think when we St Mirren have had to perform under Robinson, we have, and I think we'll probably go on and clinch it.
You had a lot of, if there was somebody coming for you had a lot of stats on the thing of your point. Are you going to
not at all. Listen,
share them now?
You're an absolute lovely guy, and I don't want to, but just I had it in my head, obviously, Killie had won the 3 games this season v St Mirren. But as I said, he's a fantastic guy.
It's just Derek McInnes against St Mirren in general. I think it's 36 games dating back to when he was a St Johnstone manager. St Mirren have won 3.
No way.
Oh, it's proper bogey.
I can't believe that.
Wow.
It's proper bogey team stuff. Like, it doesn't matter who he's at. He could have 6 players and turn up and they'd still get a result.
Eric a Paisley boy.
Yes,
yes, I know. I thought that.
But he played with Morton, didn't he?
Aye.
That's right.
Before he went to Rangers. Aye.
Do you think you'll get 5th, or are you worried about Dundee's form? Because Dundee look good, don't they?
I think if you look at it on form, Dundee are probably the one that you're going to worry about it. But I think the last 5 games there's a kind of bit of context in who you're playing. I think we played Motherwell, who were on like really good form at the time. We were maybe 50 minutes away from getting the win. There was a wee bit of a dodgy call with a penalty that day, with a handball as well. So like Hearts, we were really unlucky last week, maybe not to get the point. Again, with the call at the end, you've played Celtic, who are really starting to kind of kick on. So there's a wee bit of context to it. But I think with the way that the fixtures have went for us in the last 5, I think especially we've got the first game, we're at home to Rangers. Rangers aren't in great form, and St Mirren are a good team at home. We've only lost 4 games at home all season. Like, the home form since Robinson's come in has been tremendous. I think the big ones, the Dundee game, the second game, the split, I think that'll be like a cup final. Like, and I think if you win that, or maybe avoid defeat, you really just have to match Dundee's results to make sure they're not going ahead of you after that point. But I think both us and Dundee will probably struggle in games, but it's exciting. It's good to be involved at this end of the table. Like, it's far better than being down the bottom and kind of constantly looking over your shoulder.
Are you tipping for 5th?
I feel like I can tip 5th. That's because that's
your bottom 6.
I'll go with St Mirren. I think Dundee's hitting form at the right moment, but you're then talking about you're up against Celtic. I know they've just got the draw against Rangers, and like you says, they're sort of going against the teams that they're maybe looking at the start of the season where that would be a decent point, where Dundee probably need to win the games to catch St Mirren now. So I think St Mirren will hold on to it.
Everyone's talking about finishing 5th. If we win the cup,
that's not happening.
Right.
It can't happen because my boss will slaughter me. He's an Aberdeen fan. They've slaughtered him all year.
The cup, 5th are
Aberdeen will not win the cup.
It would be some surprise to be fair to do win it, but you never know.
If Aberdeen won the cup.
What about you two? Who you think for 5th?
You related to Derek Adams?
Oh, you do. Derry, who's finishing 5th?
You've just said it, by the way. Dundee are hitting form. Dundee for me.
Oh, really?
Dundee for me.
Aye, because they're in a good... Aye. And they're kind of... I mean, St Mirren are a good, solid, well-organised side. I just think at the moment, with the results that they've had and just being top 6 as well, I just think you look at the players, the confidence, they're flying at the minute. So I fancy them.
You same, Slaney,
Aye, same for me. I think they've got, as you said,
there's another thread on the St Mirren website.
No, I think...
He's desperate for a thread.
Can I do the commentary with you? You do the commentary.
Jump on, mate, aye.
Wonder how it would be, see if I came, do you think they would just fucking... Do you think they'd want me at the stadium?
No, it's...
He'll not turn up anyway. Remember the Hamilton one?
you got
let
Hamilton
me down
gig,
big
that's right.
time.
I've never forgave myself for that.
No.
I've-
You on that big man, see if St Mirren were to finish 6th again, would there be grumblings for the fans on Robinson?
Aye. Robinson's been on a bit of a hiding to nothing since he came in. Obviously came in, and I think at the time, I remember you were talking about it in the podcast at the time. I mean, he came in, they did upset a lot of people, the stuff he was saying. Like, I think we lost, it was after we got beat 4-2 off of Motherwell, and like folk were like, oh, he came over to clap the fans, and like that's how petty it got. Like folk were like, oh, he's sarcastically clapping their own fans, and it did get a bit poisonous, and it got to the point where I think we lost to Airdrie in the League Cup groups. And then obviously went on to have a really good season. But if that, we were maybe one result off of that getting really sour, and a lot of people do back him, but I think the kind of, it's not a bad season for St Mirren to finish 6th, but I think in terms of how it's went, if you were to finish 6th now, I mean, we've not dropped below 5th since the first day of the season.
I was just about to say that.
It would be a massive disappointment, but in the cold light of day, 6 is a good season for St
So you
Mirren.
talking about the argument? What happened at Livingston? Do you know who the fella was having the...
I don't know, but he absolutely
you?
shat himself.
Bet you it wasn't
Because I
you.
remember I was
You
up-
shat Isel Robinson did on a fan.
The guy went up and flapped it. But I think, I mean, they sorted that behind closed doors. The guy went back and apologised. I think
It's interesting the reaction with the players with Robinson, because you can see there's a
Especially
bond there.
within the game where St Mirren battered Livy.
That's probably
What a chances they had.
I think we had like 22 shots, missed
a penalty, aye.
Mandron missed a sitter in the last
He
minute.
should have won it.
What did the
Aye.
guy say to him?
It's something to do with having like the team didn't have any heart, but then like the next game we're 1-0 down against Aberdeen the 90th minute and win 2-1 5 minutes later. So I
Done
think
some job, innit?
Oh, he didn't get it.
he's a really passionate guy, and I think like understandably like for where he's took St Mirren for where they were before, like obviously Goodwin done an alright job. Robinson's really kicked us on at the next level, and I think he's right to react to criticism like that. I think it's just so harsh.
What's your question, Sam?
How hard is it going to be for? I mean, that's obviously St Mirren this year. I think I'd asked the question last year. Do you think they could go on and finish top 6 again? And so we've obviously been in. We've consolidated again. How hard do you think it's going to be for St Mirren to go and do that again next year? I mean, obviously you're looking at talking about Motherwell getting investment. Hibs are going to spend a fortune. Aberdeen surely can't be as bad as they were this year. Kelly, they're obviously still going to have Derek McInnes. So how hard is it going to be for St Mirren to go and replicate that again and try and finish in the top 6 again?
It's a very good question because, I mean, you're right. If you're going off budgets and squads at the start of every season, Hibs and Aberdeen both should be in the top 6. And neither know if they get it in the next year, 2 people are dropping out. But
Dundee United will come up with a big budget as well, won't they?
I look at the difference between Kelly and St Mirren. I just think, for me, Kelly's squad is probably better, well-rounded than St Mirren. So I do think, to answer your question, to solidify it, they'd probably need to add another 2-3 additions where... Because I'm the opposite of Slaney. He slags his, I don't. I say your starting 11 for me is strong, but like he says, you need that 2-3 additions to it. But the big one is probably that striker that's going to get you the 18 goals in all competitions that Simon Murray's getting Ross County. Because that was the thing about Kelly that we spoke about sort of 2-3 years ago, when it was like they had the 3-4 strikers, their away form, but now their away form's brilliant. They've got 4 strikers that can score goals, so I think that is probably the main area for St Mirren going into the summer.
Will he get backed in the summer, Robinson?
I mean, he's two top 6 finishes in a row, so the money should be there for us to go out. But I think like one thing that he's obviously user kind of big on, like how important recruitment is. Like Robinson had one blemish on his record, and it was all Lasagna, and for January onwards, it's been brilliant. Like it's, I mean, not like all Lasagna kind of. Maybe a wee bit like Theo Bair. Like he done an interview and he said like I was a wee bit of a joke figure. Like I remember he came on against Hearts last year when we drew, I think it was 1 each, the game in January when Snoddy scored the cross, and he came on and people like all the Sanyers running up the line, and people in the crowd were actually like laughing, like when he was trying to touch the ball and like roll on a year. Like the guy's one of the most important players in the team, so I think probably recruitment is massive, but it's just going to be, it'll be hard. I don't know how much more the board can back him, more than they already have. Like they went out and we paid a big fee for Conor McMenamin in the summer, like a big fee in terms for St Mirren. It was 115 grand or something we paid for him, so I don't know how you can't really go out, and St Mirren can't go out and spend 4
Would you take Newbley, Anderson, Kelly for Livingston?
I mean, there was rumblings that I think it was between us and Kelly, we're in looking at Bruce Anderson. There was a wee bit of talk with fans that we were maybe looking at Newbley in January. You would take, but I think players that perform really well for other teams in the league. I think Hearts, that's why Hearts are probably going to kick on again. They're recruiting all the best players for the other teams in the league, like Penrice and Spittle have been the 2 best players for their teams this season. So I think I'd absolutely take Bruce Anders. I think
Kelly's one you should look at. Kelly's
I like Stephen Kelly there.
I think just the way we play, I think he'd probably have to replace Kelty maybe, and I think Kelty's a wee bit more rounded than what Kelly would do for St.
Poor Angus has just lost 6 players in 5 minutes.
The painter as well at St. Man. Take the manager now. Davey's got to tell my boss, man. Want me to edit this.
Is I moving on to Kelly?
Well, we just need to say how Kelly's at the bottom of the list when they've been probably team of the season. That was the Hibs fan that put this together, mate, so you can have a word with him. But
Callum, did you agree with my comments?
Aye, we love you down at Kelly now after the comment.
Well, you did say best dressing room you were in.
Oh, mate, honestly, I mean Kevin in there, and it was just incredible. I'd honestly genuinely thought now in football you don't really get that kind of throwback. The boys, you can just tell, absolutely love Derek McInnes, and that's probably what one of his biggest strengths are.
Definitely. Can you see that on the pitch? They're a close bunch.
Without a doubt, aye. Without doubt. You can see them all scrapping for each other, working for each other all the time. So, I mean, the biggest compliment I can pay McInnes is, I mean, you look at it, well, I don't know if you've seen this stat, we're 20 points better off than we were this time last year. It's incredible. Wow. I think it's us in Hearts are 14 points better off, and I think County are 3, but that just shows the level of improvement. And again, not to get back to the Championship and all, but almost a sliding doors moment. I mean, we obviously went up in the second last game of the season against Arbroath. Arbroath have just been relegated into League One. We're about to play European football. It just shows how massive that was to get us up in that first year. So, but aye, you can see the squad camaraderie.
Cam, I'm going to put you under pressure straight away.
Go for it.
Derek McInnes' Kelly, or Steve Clark's Kelly.
Well, this is an argument that's going on through all the fans forums and that, as you can appreciate. I still think Clark's Kelly beats them, to be honest. I think that McInnes is built more a legacy, and we're building for a position of strength. A lot of Stevie Clark was short-termism, a lot of loans, whereas McInnes, I think next year we could potentially be even stronger. But I think even if we are to match, if we are to win every game for now at the end of the season, we still don't get to Clark's point total, which was 67 points. I think that's just incredible for a provincial club like Kilmarnock. There was a period in folk will laugh, but Kelly were top of the league for a period in December under Steve Clark. There was nobody ever really believed we would go and win the league, but there was talk about it when we beat Rangers. I think the first game after, you would have been there, the first game after the winter break, when Jordan Jones scores for Kelly.
2-1, aye.
In the commentary, the final whistles are Kelly's in this title race, they're not going away yet, and that's at the end of January. Whereas there's been periods under McInnes where fans have been ready to turn on him, man. Like, I mean, like the fans
it's
have
mental that.
I didn't get it.
Who wants to be a manager, genuinely? How you think you want to be a manager?
Never again, mate. Nah.
It's a lot of the fans. It seems with McInnes as well. He's only ever 2 games away for still folk rumbling. And
why?
I know it's crazy. I still think that the majority of fans are well behind him, but I still think half time St Mirren game, folk were thinking, can the team get booed off the park? We get booed off the park at Hampton Levy when we didn't get in 2-0 up. I mean, Kilmarnock getting given right to go and beat anybody. So I don't know what causes that. Whereas at Clark it was just a unanimous, this guy's God. But I think it's only credit to McInnes that he keeps getting compared to him, but I mean, it's a totally different period in the club's history, and we've just got to try and put Clark aside, because I don't think we'll ever get up to that stage again.
What I've loved though this season is that they've went and beat Celtic twice, drew them at Parkhead, also beat Rangers. I love that. Our league obviously is dominated by Celtic and Rangers, but I love when one of the other clubs really have.
But again, Dale installs that mentality in at the minute.
Even at the Parkhead game I was at, Celtic go 1 up, but you could tell the full second half that Killer were going to score. I think
the one. I can't remember if it was a cup game, the Rugby Park with the Celtic game as well. He actually came out and said how unhappy he was with the first half performance. When everybody watching was thought, they're actually in the game here, Kelly, but he wasn't happy. He wanted more. He wanted a more attacking intent. And you're right in saying it. Like, there's no game where you would say, they'll beat Kelly. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter who they're playing, where it is. You just think it's going to be a difficult game. Obviously, Hearts and Kelly have had some tough games in 2 or 3 as well. It wasn't it? I think it was Alex Lowry scored in the last minute of the Cup. And the next one at Rugby Park, they've been tight. Obviously, the 2 Old Firms that we spoke about as well. So he's done some job. But it's like you said, I was going to say with Sam, with Stephen Robinson, like, you talking about Kelly having mummers or he's only 2 games away.
I think that's bonkers.
Generally is
I can't
with
believe
managers is you're a victim of your own success. So Stephen Thompson's has 2 top 6. See if they're 8th next year.
It's like that game with, like he's talking about the 5-2. They're getting booed after the part at half time. They're wanting McInnes sacked, and then 45 minutes later, St Bunford wants Stephen Robinson sacked. So.
What about in terms of he's got his recruitment spot on? If you were going to take that next jump, what areas of the pitch would you think you'd be looking to add to?
Well, it's interesting to see with the likes of Stuart Finlay and that, whether we can keep him again. He said himself that he's essentially a Kilmarnock fan now. I think that's so if he signs again, it'll be 5.
I seen him standing with a tricolour on Sundays talking shite.
What's happening with your the surface? Do you go grass next season?
Right, so it's still trying to get this training ground built, which is obviously a nightmare. It's as you'd expect through the councils and that. The planning permission's no been fully granted yet. So there was talk that the pitch would get ripped up after next season, but I don't know whether that will be the case or no. That's what I want to see. I mean, personally, I think that the pitch is a bit of a cop-out for folk, but I would rather see a good grass park at Kelly. And you'd know yourself, Derek, Kelly used to have one of the best grass parks in the country back in the day in the 90s and that. It was incredible. But in regards to positions where to strengthen, again, it's good. It's not a complete overhaul like it was last season. We're building for a position of strength. And again, I would like to see a permanent goalie. We've not had a permanent goalie for Jamie McDonald, which is pretty telling, to be honest. So I would like to get a proper number 1 in with a bit of experience and get a couple of year contract on him. And again, it'll be interesting to see the likes of Greg Stewart if he hangs about. We all wanted him to come in and make the impact to us, but the truth be told, him and Van Veen just haven't been able to squeeze Watkins and Vassell at the team, so that's credit to them.
But then I think with they two though, that it's great to have a squad like, especially when you're getting into Europe.
Yeah, definitely.
You'll see them have us.
What about would that be harsh to say a wee bit more creativity in the middle of the pitch?
Potentially. But again, that's where we always talk about Derek McInnes' recruitment with people that are proven and done well in the league, but even the loan market always seems to bring in boys on loan that do well for the club. Corey and Daba for me has been very good.
Class, man.
He's done very well this year.
He's found himself at the team recently as well. Robert has been playing there. So in regards to middle of the park, and all, we've still got Kyle McGuinness to hopefully come back and get a full pre-season under him. You feel for the boy, these injury problems, but he'd be like a new signing if we can get him fit.
Watson's brilliant, isn't he?
Aye, different class, man. Absolutely tremendous. That's what my question was going to be. If you want me to just go into
go for it, mate.
Was I actually got to say about your comments about McInnes potentially going to Hibs? That's somebody they should look at, whether he would go, but you've all agreed that Montgomery should stay there, so don't want to talk about a manager that's not even out of job. So young player of the year shouts. I mean, David Watson, he's been in the Kelly team. I think McInnes actually managed them really well, but for me, I think it's got to be him. It's the goals he's added to his games as well this season. He's not just buzzing about the park, pressing, winning the ball back. He's scoring goals, I know.
Yeah, his goal up at Pittodrie is one of the best goals I've seen.
Yeah, that's great finish. I think he'll win it. I'm as these boys know, I'm a big lover of Lennon Miller at Motherwell, but I think he had a couple of months spell out with injury, and I think the fact that David Watson scored the goals he scored, I think he will get it, to be honest. And I can't say he doesn't deserve it, even though I'm a huge fan of Lennon. If he wins it, he deserves it.
We had a discussion in the open all nights and it was Barron, it was Miller and Watson. I plump for Watson every day of the week. As you say, he's box to box.
Can I tell you something, Derek? Do you know who it reminds me of? Lewis.
I know, and that's because it's weird because that's the type of player Lewis was initially as a young boy. He was just box to box, a real physicality about his game. But what Derek's probably doing with him, he's been challenging him, to get into the box, get into scoring positions, and some of the goals he has scored. It's attitude as well. I just love his attitude. To me, I don't know the boy, just watching him, he doesn't look a big time Charlie. He just looks a real team player. And Derek recognised that right away when he was in there. For me, every day of the week the boy Watson.
James Forrest, you're going, aren't you?
Honestly, mate, that handshake with Watson, though, holy fuck.
And by the way, don't forget what I told you the other day. Big Marv says you were one of the best young player he's ever come across.
We need to get him off it, though, Marv, didn't we? The sad state he's in.
What was Kev's shout for young player of the year last year? Does anyone remember? It was a belter.
He had someone, they were 27-year-old.
Aye, Kev. So it was
Ross Callaghan. It was, and he was 28.
That was him.
Kev. Was
Kev? Someone about Ross Callaghan.
I'm sure it was Kev.
Was it Kev?
Ross Callaghan.
Can we go round and ask everybody who you think will be the player of the year?
Good, on you go, Paul. Take it away.
So if you just start here with it,
with who?
Start there.
Aye, may as well start with Liam.
Shankland.
Aye, it's got to be Shankland.
I'll just take that one.
Aye, I agree. Shankland.
Oh, Shankland.
Anyone know Shankland, basically?
Go on, Ethan.
Tempted to say Luke McCowan, to be honest.
What a player, mate.
Brilliant.
He'll get him, he's in my team of the year.
What a
Already
player.
voted.
Yeah.
Brilliant, mate.
He's no over Shankland for player of the year.
I think Miovski's got a shout as well, to be fair. Scoring that many goals for a team.
But the last 3 months, him and Aberdeen have been dug shite in there.
Well, I think that makes it more impressive if you're scoring in a team that's...
But is he scoring? Has he been scoring the last few while? No, he's not.
Does he not?
I think he's 8
Not for me.
8 league goals behind Shankland.
Nah.
So
Not for me.
I think Shankland broke 30 already in it for this season.
I think Miovski. I think he's a brilliant player.
Genuinely think Miovski's been better than Lon Shankland this year.
I think Miovski has done brilliantly in a team where he's had no service, where we're hoofing long balls up the park and expecting him to produce things out of nothing.
It's a good point.
I don't think Shankland's getting unbelievable service at Hearts, is he?
Well,
A lot of his goals come from him creating himself.
Third best team, though, isn't he, in the league by a country mile?
because of him.
Uh-huh.
By the way, so that's important as well. Like, so I agree with you. Miovski's been the standout for Aberdeen, but for me, Hearts are 14 points better off because of Lon Shankland.
Uh-huh.
So if Miovski was the player of the year, I don't think Aberdeen would be, even though he's been their best player by a mile, I don't think they'd be where they are.
I think if Miovski won it, we might find it a bit embarrassing. It probably is Shankland. I think Miovski, though, he's been underrated because of where we are.
Oh, he's been brilliant. Very good.
The Neil Warnock appointment killed Miovski, though, didn't it?
He went through a phase of not scoring, and I think when you go a game without scoring and you're a player like that, every game you don't score, people make that's 2 now, or now that's 3, and I think that must be difficult. But we've still got 5 games plus tomorrow, and maybe we'll see.
Shankland without a doubt for me.
That is.
You're going to laugh, but I think Jack Butland could win it.
Can you see it?
Do you think he's been that good?
Well, I don't watch Rangers every week, but just hearing what fans say in the games I have watched, he's been a really
And I don't think it'd be wise to go and
been the
watch
best
Rangers
goalie in the
every
league
week
for
with that
sure,
gear
but-
on.
You ever see that boy, a wee guy, he's a wee TikTok guy, he goes outside Celtic Park with blue gear on and talks to fans.
I saw that.
He's asking for a doing, man.
We met him in the toon, remember the boy? We met him, he had 2 trainers. That's him.
That what he's doing?
That's right. He's massive on TikTok, isn't he?
Danger money.
Where you going?
I was either Tavernier or Shankland, but probably Shankland.
Yeah, it's got to be Shankland.
Yeah.
Clean sweep.
Yeah, Shankland as well.
Clean sweep for Lon Shankland.
Brilliant, innit?
Guys, you've been absolutely tremendous again. Thanks very much for coming. You've been fucking hopeless, but you've been brilliant. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.